Hey guys, welcome to Becky's Garden Paradise. It's Monday evening. This weekend we had a nor'easter, so it was cool and rainy and windy all weekend. But it's cleared up today. It was still windy for the first part of the day and overcast and cool. But the sky has cleared, the sun came out, the wind has calmed down, there's just a light breeze. And the rest of the week is going to be highs in the upper 80s versus today where the high was like 68. So it's definitely going to warm up and feel like Florida for the rest of the week. But I'm taking advantage of this beautiful evening to get some work done out of my garden. So I'm going to show you what I have growing on. Alright, so I have some of my rattlesnake green beans germinated, and I just want to show you that. They're little babies. They just got their first true leaves. They're just a couple inches tall. Little babies, and I'm still waiting on some to germinate. I found one that had got washed out of the dirt, and I poked it back down in there. And then when I was hoeing, I found one that was just, looked like it was just starting to split to get ready to germinate. So I gently tucked it back down. I have a couple that are a little bit yellow. I don't know if it's from probably from all the rain. But I'm sure that they'll green up once they get going. And if the seeds I planted in some of these empty spots don't come up, that's okay, because I have those Kentucky Wonder pole beans that I accidentally planted in a tiered planter that I'll use to fill in the spaces, because they're going to have to be transplanted anyway. I have a couple weeds, grass or whatever that's coming up in a couple places. So I just got my ground cover. That's grass. But I just got this ground cover from Grower Solutions, woven ground cover. It's much more durable than the landscape fabric you find in the big box stores around here. This is what a lot of the nurseries use. So I'm going to use this year to cover the rows so that I don't have to weed as much. I'll still have to weed the actual rows themselves, but it'll be much better than having to fight with the weeds in the rows. So I have the pole beans planted along the garden fence, and I've hoed and raked the area flat where I'm laying this ground cover down at, and then I'm gonna have to come over here and hoe another row to plant some squash in. So you could see all that rain caused some weeds and grass and stuff to sprout where we had tilled, which is normal and to be expected. So I'm gonna hoe that as well. If I don't get the seeds planted this evening, then I'll come out here tomorrow and plant them, but the sooner the better. So to put the ground cover down, I'm just rolling it straight with my foot. And then I have landscape. I want to make sure I don't run over my row. Just trying to make sure I keep it nice and straight. I think it's good. It's going to be close, but that's okay. Just want to make sure I don't hit them. There we go. We're good. We're safe. Ooh, getting close. But that's okay. There's enough space. It's going to be just fine. Just fine. There we go. So I have the landscape pins I have to go get. And then I'm going to cut this and burn the edge, probably with like a kitchen lighter. You want to burn it so that it doesn't fray, because I have some pieces that were cut that were given to me that are fraying really bad. So I'm going to go get the landscape staples and a kitchen lighter, and I'll be back. Alright, so I went and got my box of staples, landscape staples, and I got my kitchen lighter ready to go. I just put the first three staples in, and my neighbor's gonna come over tomorrow to measure the area for the gate. Look at my poor dead rosemary in the background. We pulled it up when Mr. B was tilling, and it had roots that had grown through the fabric pot into the ground, and so it didn't take too well to being ripped up from where it had been for a few years. So anyways, I'm glad that Ryan, my neighbor, is going to come over and measure this area for the gate, for the entrance tomorrow, because I'm paranoid that my dog might mess with the woven ground cover, because I think that's what she comes over here and does. I think because I have those pots are normally on top of this piece. It's one of the pieces that were given to me. And that's the second time that it's been pulled out from under those pots. I don't think that the wind did that. I think that my dog did that. So the sooner we get the garden secure, the better. But I'm just going to go ahead and go on down the line. And about every few feet, I'll put a couple landscape staples. I'm mainly just going to be putting them on the edges on each side all the way down. So it's easy, especially in this Florida sand. And I just mailed my soil sample off today, so I'm just going to go like 1, 2, 3, take a few steps. And I usually try to put it a few inches away from the edge. So you just poke it. And you want it kind of tight. So poke it through, make the holes, and then a lot of them I can just push down with my fingers. I know if you got hard, rocky clay soil or whatever, you got to get like a mallet out here banging on them. And so I'm just going to go across from the one that I just put in, over on this side, and the same thing. So poke it through, make the holes, and it'll kind of ravel or bunch up. And then I like pull back on it. I have the holes, and so the staple's going through the holes, and I just push it down. If it's a little bit hard, like right there, it might be hitting a root that we didn't get out that's further down under the, oops, it's hard. There we go. I'll just use my foot, and I still get it down pretty easy. And these are the 6-inch landscape staples. You can reuse these. So in the future, if I want to pull this up and redo my beds, or put it over my beds and burn the holes for the plants and the actual ground cover, you can still reuse these even if they're rusty. I've heard that they actually work better when they're rusty because they kind of cling to the soil better. So I'm going to do the same thing all the way down. Alright, so I rolled it all the way down as you saw, and I pinned it, and now I'm at the edge. And so usually people use hand torches, which I don't have a hand torch, but I may have to invest in one because I was thinking, hey, I can improvise. I watched MacGyver as a kid, and I can singe it with this kitchen lighter. Seems like it's doing okay as long as the breeze doesn't blow, but every time the breeze blows, it goes out, and sometimes it won't even stay lit. But I'm trying to singe it to keep it from what do you call it? Like getting all fringy, unraveling, because it's plastic. So you can see what I'm trying to do. I think I'm gonna have to take a trip to Ace Hardware tomorrow and ask them for a hand torch that is easy to handle. Sometimes, you know, people use the ones that have the big propane tanks attached to them. I don't think this is doing it good enough. Anyways, I want one, if I can find one that's like handheld. I've seen one before in a video that looked kind of like a gun, but it was like a torch. Anyways, because I can't even hardly smell any burnt plastic. But anyways, I don't want it to come unraveled. I want it to last a long, long time so I can reuse this for a few years. I'm going to show you guys the peppers. Like I said, I got to hoe the rest of this area. And I'm going to have about a foot space here for my row for squash. This woven ground cover is 3 feet wide. So I have like a foot of planting space. I'll probably plant mounds with 3 seeds in eeach mound of each type of summer squash that I'm going to try to grow down here, just so you guys can see my vision. So down here will be the row, the 1 foot long or foot wide row all the way down, and then have another like 3 foot row of the weed fabric, and then just keep going from there. I need to put in a row of cucumbers I need at least one row of tomatoes, and then in the back along the fence is going to be my okra. So I'm working my way back as it gets warmer because the okra likes it warm. So you got to wait till it's nice and warm even at night to plant your okra. Before it gets dark, I want to show you my little onion bed. I didn't plant as many onions as I had originally planned, but this is my little onion bed, but they are starting to bulb. You can see that one down there. They're all red onions. And you can smell, when the breeze blows, I can smell the onions across the yard. I wanted to give you an update on my onions. I moved them. They were on my patio over there around that corner. And I'd had to move everything off my patio when I had my bathroom remodeled because they were blowing the fumes that they were pulling out of the bathroom during the remodel out that window, and I was afraid that those fumes would kill my plants. Like, the guy was wearing like a full body hazmat type suit with a respirator on, so me and my son moved all my peppers back here, which they're going to be back here anyway. I just need to fix up the area and make it a little bit prettier for them. But this is the mystery, one of the mystery peppers. But I was feeling around on it, and it has quite a few peppers on it. Again, it's a mystery plant. I don't know if it's sweet or spicy. This over here is, gosh, another mystery. I replanted that. But anyways, it's another one of my mystery plants. It might be a jalapeno, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's blooming, has little blooms on it. This is possibly a habanado. It's also another mystery. Now, this one had peppers on it before I moved it. And now, oh, there they are. They were hiding from me. I couldn't find them earlier. But I see a little one up in there. I'll probably find more if I look harder. And then my bell peppers are trucking along. That one big bell pepper on the left is the hugest one, and it's about, the circumference of it is like the palm of my hand. So I'm anxious to see how big that one's gonna get. It has a couple more on it. This is the jalapeno that I know is a jalapeno that I repotted and pruned. You can see the top part still isn't looking too good, but it has this new growth that's fruiting at the bottom. So I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and trim the rest of this yellowing part off so that it can put more energy into the new growth. And then my lanky poblano, but it's producing. You can see all the peppers on it, so I could pick these at any time. They haven't really, the ones that have been here for a while haven't really grown in size, so they're just in the process of ripening, so eventually they would turn like red or whatever, but I plan on using them before then. Alright, so I got my summer squash planted, but I ran out of daylight, so I used the hoe to, dig a couple holes to plant each type of squash in. And by the time I had the seeds in the ground and put some fertilizer in the ground with it, I was literally using the flashlight on my cell phone to see in order to cover the seeds up. But I wanted to show you the varieties that I planted. I didn't mark the spots. I just kind of alternated between each type of summer squash. So the first one is this. So yeah, it's backwards, but it is the scallop or patty pan white summer squash. It says it's a container variety, but planted it in the ground. I've seen other people grow it in the ground. So this one is supposed to take 7 to 10 days to germinate. And it says depth 1 inch, spacing 3 to 4 feet. I planted I had like 2 holes for every 6 feet. And then there's going to be 3 feet of the ground cover on each side of the row, which is going to give them space to grow also. Alright, and then the second variety is this early prolific straight neck yellow summer squash. And it has about the same 7 to 10 days for germination. And let's see. Dark green zucchini squash. So I think I planted at least two spots with this, because this one is my favorite really. And this one has 8 to 10 days on the germination rate, so we'll see how it goes. If it's warm, a lot of times the seeds will germinate quicker, but I'll make sure that I go out there since it's going to be so warm each day and water them to keep the soil moist for them. And then this is interesting. It looks like a yellow or a gold zucchini is basically what it is. So this will be cool. So those 4 varieties are the ones that I planted. And these seeds ended up being a little bit old. Oop, animals are going crazy. From 2016 and 2017 are when the years that these seeds are from. So I planted 4 in each hole, and we'll see. To try to guarantee that I'll get, at least one to germinate. But I'll fill you in on the progress as we go. So hopefully we get good germination and some healthy, productive squash plants for us to enjoy. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe to follow me on my journey for my first row garden in the ground. I've grown stuff in ground beds before, but this is the first time that I've done it on the scale that I'm doing it in, with the 18-foot rows, which I know aren't super long, but it's definitely progress for me compared to what I've done in the past. Plus I'll still have different things growing in containers, so I'm planting them 1 row at a time until I get my garden fully planted. So if you have any tips, any ideas, any questions about anything that you've seen, please share those thoughts in the comments, and I will see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye.